I call the Committee on Student Life to order. Let me begin with a point of order. Our student trustee, Akeem Pollock, is graduating today, so that's the best reason for an excuse I've ever heard, Ms. Wax. Please note him as excused. We will begin with a report by Vice Chancellor Denise Maybank. Vice Chancellor.
Okay, just got tea in my face.
Sorry.
Good afternoon, everyone. And that is exactly where I want to start, with the thing that is our business. So this is commencement season. And I don't know that if you know, but each year I send out a morning message to the campuses that are having a commencement experience at that moment. And this year's message begins like this: 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff. Welcome to commencement day and to the launch pad that CUNY is. And that is what happens for us. We launch students out into the world to be their wonderful selves, to take what it is that has become a part of them as they have traversed the time and space that is CUNY, and they go out to make the world a better place. We're awarding at least 50,000 degrees each year. And CUNY's mix of quality and affordability makes this a place that is special for the families and for the students who choose us as their place to expand their minds and their understandings of the world. And so the university's mission is well intact: to provide first-rate public education to all students, regardless of their means and backgrounds. And the students that have graduated this year are certainly emblematic of that mission. So we had the law school with its 41st commencement, BMCC with its 61st. I'm gonna get in trouble because I'm not calling all 26. This is gonna get me in trouble, but I'm gonna do what I'm doing. Queens College had its 102nd commencement experience, while Hunter had its 229th. So not all within the context of the CUNY time, because we're about 179 years old, but they've done that many commencements over the course of time. Brooklyn College, hi y'all, graduated 4,100 students, and everybody got to walk across the stage, and we have one in the midst who had the full experience. Baruch graduated 5,496 students. We're excited for them. BCC, Bronx Community College, graduated 1,200 plus graduates this year. And so the list goes on and on in terms of the numbers of years and commencements, as well as the number of amazing students who have been launched into the next episode of their lives. And I was talking with some of the students from Brooklyn before I came in, and I wanted to know what they were going to do next to pay my Social Security. I didn't get a whole lot of good answers yet, but they're working on that for me to get back to me, because I know that they are our now. The students who are a part of this CUNY experience are making a difference and bringing good things to life for the city of New York, the state of New York, and this country. With that said, there have been a lot of other things that are going on as well. We've had a number of recognitions in our student groups and connectedness in their identity base. So we've had lavender commencements or lavender receptions and graduation and ceremony events in every borough. We've had undocu graduations in 3 places. And we continue to celebrate with everything that is happening. This is Pride Month. And as you may know, there is an annual Pride Fest that has been held at Queens College for the last few years. And J.C. Carlson from Queens College is the person who kind of curates that, makes sure that it happens, brings in the entertainment, the speakers, and makes everything come together. Well, this year, New York City Pride won't be the same because it has been CUNYized. As we sit here, Pride is happening on 42nd Street, somewhere in the Times Square area, if they let it come off that way. And I'm curious to see what happened with that. But nevertheless, CUNY is at New York City Pride this year, and the whole event has been taken there. So there will be various drag performances, live music, dancers, free giveaways, and a whole lot more on that stage as CUNY shows up and shows out. The event kicks off at 5, I think it is, at Broadway and 46th Street, so right in that area. I did have it in my notes. And it's free and open to the public, and so it's just going to be quite the experience for our CUNY family. Later on in the program, you'll hear from our valedictorians, those representing our valedictorians for this year. So I will conclude my comments there, and I'll wait to introduce our amazing students here for the afternoon.
Well, thank you, Vice Chancellor. We'll take up the following items for approval. Action item 2 is the approval of the minutes of the April 27, 2026 meeting. I move for the approval of action item 2A. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? That passes unanimously. Item B1 is a resolution to approve the undergraduate student activity fee increase at Brooklyn College. I call on Assistant Vice Chancellor Ian James to provide more information on this item.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As required by the Board of Trustees, Article 15, Section 16.12, Brooklyn College held an undergraduate student activity fee referendum from March 23rd to March 27th, 2026, for a proposed student activity fee of $5.50, raising the fee from $120 to $125.50. Vice President Yasmin Ali, along with the President of Esports and Gaming, the President of the Student Athlete Advisory Committee, and other members of student government, are here to answer any questions that members of the committee may have. Vice President Ali?
Thank you so much, Assistant Vice Chancellor James. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for the opportunity to present our referenda to you today. I'm going to cede the floor to Sage Bernstein and Chris Vasquez, who will talk a little bit about the athletics fee increase.
Okay, so hi everyone. Before I begin, I just wanted to thank everyone for your time and consideration for this meeting. I promise I will be as quick as possible so we can all ensure we make it in time for the Knicks game tonight, Knicks and 4. Okay. So my name is Sage Bernstein. I'm a dual sport athlete, a captain, but also the president of the Student Athlete Advisory Committee. Here is my...
I'm Christopher Vasquez. I'm a freshman of Brooklyn College. I'm also a first-year member of the men's tennis team, and I am a member of the Student Athlete Advisory Committee.
So we do have numbers here to talk about this referendum and support. I've come on behalf of students and student athletes alike to support the Rex and Athletic referendum. In summary, we're proposing a $4 increase to our previous $20 student activity fee. So that increase would go from $20 to $24. This would raise an additional $88,000. The breakdown of that $88,000 would be $20,000 for the increase in minimum wage for rec workers. We did have an increase in minimum wage in January for that, so we would, obviously want to make sure we have them compensated correctly. $14,000 would go towards supporting and creating a new intramurals program. We haven't had a intramurals program since COVID, and we want to get that back and up and running again. We have different intramural sports, but we want an actual program with actual, things to support. And then $39,000 would go to inflation costs. This would go towards, buses, meals, and hotels for student athletes. And then finally, the last $14,600 would go towards creating and bettering our fitness center that would be open to all students. That is, having better facilities and things along that line. As for our referendum, it's extremely supported throughout Brooklyn College. During our petitioning period, we actually got 1,213 signatures, which surpassed the 10%. Additionally, during the campaigning period, we got 674 yeses out of 851 people, and that is 79% of students voting in favor of this referendum. So this is something widely supported and greatly wanted by not just student athletes, not just everybody really wants it passed. So that's kind of my quick summary for that. And if you have any questions, I'd be happily ready to answer.
It's okay if you don't have this information, but I'm sure a percentage of the workers, the rec workers, are
Yes.
students themselves.
Yes, this is true. I don't have the exact percentage,
Of course,
but yes.
but it's safe to assume it's a sizable percentage.
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks, Gaming.
Are there any other questions from any? No?
Yeah, so for the game.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm Alexander Raff. I am both the manager of esports and gaming club at Brooklyn College. I'm also a student on the GI Bill, disabled veteran. And I'm here today with Mustafa Salem, my president, to represent the esports end of the referendum, which we also received 624 yes votes out of the 851 recorded. This is an expansion of a pioneer pilot that we did in this room 3 years ago. I was also present here for that. And we've had a lot of success. Our program has almost quintupled in size in terms of the number of students that are engaging with esports and gaming at Brooklyn College. We've also added more opportunities for students when it comes to professional development. And we are hopefully adding an academic component soon through the Koppelman School of Business. All of that being said, we're here to request an increase because we're building a pioneer space that was established as something we were going to work toward when we built the first referendum. Costs since that initial estimate have obviously changed and gone up. A lot of this will go toward making sure that we can afford the high-speed dedicated internet in the pioneer space we're building in our student center. I think it's about a $13,000 difference from when we first were coming to pitch that pioneer space. And that will be the majority of where our funds go. But we're also looking to secure additional staffing positions because right now most of the teams are self-coached. I, even as the manager, am training student coaches. But very bluntly, our teams are competing at an extremely high level against schools that are spending seven figures.
Don't knock yourself. Babe Ruth was a player manager.
Yeah, yeah. So all of that is to say that, and also in addition to travel, because our students are doing very well. We were invited to the ECAC Esports National Founders Invitational in Texas this year. Last year, the Spring Invitational or the Spring Showdown in Troy. And also as an expansion of the stuff we're doing with the Mayor's Office of Media and Entertainment, the New York City Video Game Festival, Brooklyn College was one of two schools that had two teams represented at that competition. So all of this is to continue facilitating that, facilitate the growth of our program and our club and the student opportunities that we have been working toward. So Mustafa, if you want to add anything, I know I jumped in there, but you're welcome to.
You covered it.
Okay.
Yeah, if you win, don't go for the bonus. You said that the students quintupled, but so did the prize money in some of these tournaments. It's been sponsors and.
Well, when we first started competing, a lot of the tournaments we went to didn't have prize money, just because we weren't at the level that we could compete with them. Now this year, we took second in the New York City Video Game Festival with New York City Collegiate Esports Circuit it's a mouthful. But there was a prize for that. Our students took home second and fourth. There was a prize even for fourth. So they brought home prize money from that. There's also a lot of opportunities opening up, even beyond just the prizing for this. We've had students get jobs with professional gaming organizations that are global organizations. Mustafa himself actually was able to go on a study abroad opportunity with Gen G in South Korea. We've also gotten students work with Red Bull Gaming, who were sponsors of that same event. And so students who have been able to come across professional opportunities that they would otherwise not have access to.
Mustafa, can you share a little bit of that experience in South Korea? You're
Yeah,
not gonna leave here without.
Yeah.
I've never been to Korea.
South Korea, forget about it.
No, so
That's awesome.
just a little bit of background on the organization behind the study abroad. So Gen G is a it's an esports organization. They field arguably the best team in the world based in South Korea for one game in particular, League of Legends. Very widely popular. It's our most popular game, I believe. Yeah. So, they had the way they framed it was a practicum abroad, where you would go to their headquarters and have that firsthand experience working on projects that the Gen G team is actively working on. So, for example, we would receive special lectures from like their marketing director. We had a talk from their CEO, and we went out for drinks later. It's a really, really incredible, remarkable vibe, remarkable experience, and obviously on top of the having fun, exploring South Korea, it was a lot of dedicated like mentoring from the staff there, making sure that you have that professional experience of what it's like to work on projects in an actual company for this industry. And at the end of the 3-week program, you would present you present your project in front of the same executives that first lectured you and gave you that advice, and you'd exchange the feedback. So it was a really incredible professional development experience. Even outside from the whole gaming aspect of it, it was more. I like to look at it as like a step in the door for what it's like in that industry. So like how to tailor your resume depending on the company that you're working on.
Pursuing.
Yeah, aspiring to work for and all that. So it was a really, really incredible, almost like a business boot camp for this particular industry, and it was a wonderful time.
Just to add real quick too, they only select 30 students per cohort for this, and Brooklyn College had 2 of the students in that cohort of 30. So, and as a result too, they're hoping to look at both Brooklyn College, and I've talked to them about all of the talented students at CUNY going forward. So,
Well, I think that's what I was gonna say, Chair. It's like this is really exposing CUNY to another world. I mean, the gaming world is huge. Like it's just, and it can funnel in different types of careers coming out of it, and which such a high potential of people just have some soft interest to deep interest that can go and expand, and it's what can help us get like the next high schooler looking to come into college that's not considering it, but something like this, and then your experience is it's great. I don't know how we funnel him to speak at some type of where we get them to talk to some, because those are experiences that will help add to it. So it's super exciting. That's awesome. I hope it's something we can spread. Sage?
Yes.
You did a great job too. Thank you so much for explaining that. I'm glad to see that you know, out of the percentage of votes you got a high percentage, and that your school is really looking to support you guys to move forward. I know it's not as much as others, but we're working within what we have to do the best we can. So that's great. Congratulations on that work. Sorry, I don't want to make it go, but I'm not gonna cut these kids short because so we can cut it from here.
Does anyone else have a question before I ask my final one? Well, if you don't, when is CUNY going to host one of these esports events?
very soon. This is
Trustees are gonna get invited, or?
we're working on having our Pioneer Space up and running for fall. As soon as that's done, we're doing that. We've been doing stuff with the other CUNY clubs and all of that already, with what funding we have and what funding the clubs can throw in to try and make that. But we're trying to expand on that sincerely, both with the support we've gotten from the Mayor's Office of Media and Entertainment and folks at CUNY and everything we're doing. So
Well, if we can help, we'll be supportive on the trustee level. Absolutely.
genuinely appreciate that.
Great job.
Does anyone else, any questions? Anyone else want to contribute? Thank you very much for, let's, I have to do that. I move the approval of policy item B1. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? That passes unanimously. Congratulations. Do your homework, you usually pass. Item B2 is a resolution to approve and change the earmarking of the university student senate fee. I call on Assistant Vice Chancellor Ian James to provide more information on this item.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In March 2025, the Board of Trustees approved the reallocation of 25% of the 60 cents portion of the university student fee for athletics to the university student operating budget. Although the intent was to reallocate the entire 14.45% of the USS fee from athletics to the operating budget, the March 2025 resolution did not address the original 1993 allocation of the 7% of the 85 cents fee. This change will take effect for all semesters period beginning on or after January 2025.
Thank you. I move the approval of policy item B2. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? That passes unanimously. With no other policy items on the calendar, we'll move to the information items. Item 3A is a report by the University Student Senate, where I believe we're going to tell you you're prepared to deliver that. Excellent. I call on Senate Alternative Committee to Student Life, Tyler Woods, to give us our report. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. So I have some words here from our student trustee, Akeem. So these are his words.
We know he's graduating. He's excused, by the way.
So let me just get started. We, the University Student Senate, thank everyone who made our year one to remember. It was not always easy, however, we persevered and the work still continues. Most importantly, congrats to all the grads in this room. I also graduated myself. We acknowledge the budget passed by the state after a tedious budget season, and we will be continuing our advocacy at the city level as the city now focuses on its budget processes. During this period, only our steering committee will be meeting. However, we thank the Chancellor EVC Alvaro, EVC Batista, BC Maybanks, and AVC James, and the many other vice chancellors, deans, and individuals from CUNY Central and local campuses who attended and participated in our meetings throughout this year. We also appreciate the continued support of EVC Batista as we work in collaboration, I'm just going to change the word, on addressing and advocating for the removal of several hiring-related fees and costs that students are currently required to pay. Additionally, throughout the summer, we will continue working closely with EVC Alvaro on improving and streamlining the e-permit and transfer processes to better support students across the university system. We will also continue pushing for the 2 bills we successfully had introduced in the State, Senate, and Assembly, and will continue advocating for them throughout the summer. Additionally, we will begin planning for our annual retreat coming up in August. Lastly, we want to thank all the members of the Student Life Committee for their dedication, partnership, and commitment throughout the academic year, your support, engagement, and willingness to advocate for students and to continue to make a meaningful difference across the university system. And we truly appreciate all of your efforts. Thank you.
Thank you. Any discussions, questions, or concerns for our alternate? Thank you very much. I appreciate that, and congratulations. Remember, if you're graduating, you don't have to decide what you're going to do for the rest of your life. You just have to decide what you're going to do next. And we have a medical school, law school, a graduate school. Just point that out. Item 3A, we'll now hear from reflections from students who are their class valedictorians. I'll invite Vice Chancellor Maybank to introduce the students.
Okay. Well, last week, we had a reception for our valedictorians, salutatorians, and campus speakers, commencement speakers. And the list was over 250 people. So that tells you something about the accomplishments of our students. And so today, we bring 3 of these distinguished members of the CUNY family before you. And so I'm going to introduce them, and I'll let them go in the order that they're seated away from me. So, The first person is Astia. Did I do it right?
Yes.
Okay. We did phonetic pronunciation. Ahmed, who is from Medgar Evers College, and he is a major in finance and economics and has received the degree of Bachelor of Science. Second is Mona Diaz, who is a student at Gutman Community College and has received an AAS, an Applied Associate's degree in Information Technology. And closest to me is Jeremiah Anike, who is at York College, and he has received a BA in Studio Art. And they will share their experiences and plans going forward.
Hi, good afternoon. Good afternoon, members of CUNY Board of Trustees, Vice Chancellor, distinguished leaders, faculty, staff, fellow students, and everyone here present today. My name is Estiak Ahmed, and I'm deeply honored to be the valedictorian of the Medgar Evers College class of 2026. 6 years ago, when I came to the United States from Bangladesh, during the pandemic with an unfinished education and an art-centered future, and a heart full of hope, I didn't even have a perfect plan. I only knew that if I was given a chance, then I had to honor that chance with discipline, faith, and hard work. So before I became a college graduate, I earned my high school equivalency certificate through the TSC, the task, it was before the GED, in 2021 after completing the Adult Basic Skills program at LaGuardia Community College. So that was my first major step inside CUNY. Before Medgar Evers College and before CGPA and like before honors, before the Golden Tassel, CUNY met me at the beginning when I was still trying to rebuild my foundation. And CUNY supported me not only in the classroom, CUNY touched my family's journey too. My family members received assistance through CUNY Citizenship Now as they applied for the US citizenship. So for my family, CUNY has meant more than an education. It has meant guidance, a sense of belonging, and a deeper beginning in this country. So for a long time, like my life didn't look like a success story. It looked like survival, but CUNY gave me the survival a direction. That is why I'm not standing here today only to speak about myself. I'm standing here to say that CUNY means to students like me. CUNY is not just a university system. For many of us, CUNY is the place where life begins again. It is where the immigrant with an accent finds a voice. It is the working student finds a path. It is where a first-generation student finds confidence. It is where the tired students, the delayed students, or the student who almost gave up in his life still walk into the classroom and believe that my story is not over. So many CUNY students carry more than just books. They carry jobs. They carry families, rent, bills, language barriers, immigration stories, and so many untold battles that never appear on a transcript. But CUNY sees us. At Medgar Evers College, I was not only taught, I was transformed. And my professors challenged me, my mentors encouraged me, and my college gave me confidence, discipline, community, and a purpose. Through CUNY, I learned that the education is not only a personal achievement. Education is a responsibility. Because purpose of rising is not to look down. The purpose of rising is to lift. Lift yourself, lift others. That is the beauty of CUNY. And CUNY not only produces graduates, CUNY produces public servants, lawyers, nurses, scientists, economists, advocates, parents, and community builders. CUNY produces people who knows what struggle looks like. Because of that, they understand why service matters. So today, I want to say thank you. Thank you to CUNY for opening doors for students whose paths are not always traditional. Thank you to LaGuardia Community College for helping me take my first step. Thank you to CUNY Citizenship Now for helping families like mine to move forward with dignity. Thank you to Medgar Evers College for giving me a home where my struggle could turn into a purpose. And thank you to the professors, staff, mentors, leaders who believe in the students before we fully start to believe in ourselves. 6 years ago, I couldn't even have imagined to speaking in this room or like anywhere in the college system or anywhere. But today, by the grace of Allah, I stand here as a CUNY graduate, as a Medgar Evers College valedictorian, and as a living proof that when opportunity meets hard work, mentorship, faith, and community, life can be transformed. CUNY didn't just give me a degree. CUNY gave me a second beginning. It gave me a confidence. So CUNY gave me a voice. CUNY gave me a future that I could finally begin to see. And my story is not only about what I become. It is about what CUNY makes it possible. So I'm Estiar Ahmed, and I deeply thank you all. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Mona. I am the valedictorian for Gutman Community College, and I actually run a gaming club at Gutman Community College. So,
I'm the best committee.
yeah. Before I start off, I just want to thank the director for Gutman Student Life, Andrew Bennett, just because if it weren't for him, I wouldn't have been in a position to run my club at all, right? And my club's kind of just my life. If you can ask like most people in Gutman, they would be like, yeah, no, that would be like, I consider the club to be my baby, just because like I made it around 2.5 years ago, and it really gave me the confidence to actually start my college journey. But kind of before that, what inspired me to do the things I do now was my grandmother. Actually, I live with her, and she worked for the city for around 30 years, give or take. She lived a life of public service and doing what was needed of her, no matter how out of the way it was. And I have always followed her. I've always followed in her footsteps with that, be it my work ethic or the things I do to help people. I have gone through enormous lengths to help my club members, help my peers, as well as even help some of the faculty at Gutman. Just because I believe in them and I believe in the community. I believe in like community building. And I would say the most important thing was the community I built around my club. Because what we did, it's like we are a gaming club, yes, but we do a lot more than just gaming. For example, club members would hang out just to help each other study, right? Our club kind of became a little study space with friends, right? And we also did everything from actually playing games to fixing each other's computers. Personally, I've used the stuff I've learned from my degree in IT to actually fix some of my friends' computers when they had issues. They would come to me and be like, hey, I really need my computer. It's not working right now and I need it for class. And I'd fix it like 10 minutes before class just so they can do their work, right? And it always gave me a sense of joy to be able to do that, right? To be in that position where people trusted me with their most beloved things just to make sure that they can go back and look back at those memories. I've done numerous data recoveries, among other things. And it's always been, like, this club's been my pride and joy. And the fact that it grew from just, a bunch of friends and people just kind of sharing a hobby of playing games to now it's a community. I've helped people obtain like textbooks for their classes. when they couldn't afford them. Right, I connected them with the correct people and resources, so that way they would be able to get to be able to maximize their learning. Right, because some of the classes you need the textbooks, and they were able to get that done. Right, they were able to get their work done, and I have a lot to thank CUNY for, because I remember when I was graduating high school, I was like, oh, I'm probably not going to go to college. I don't really, I didn't really see, my grades were terrible in high school. You wouldn't believe it. And when I came to CUNY gave me the ability to turn it around, as well as, like, it gave me a sense of belonging and community. Sometimes I'm just like, I don't want to be home. I don't know what to do, and I just go to my college just to hang out with friends, and we just play games together. Maybe we do schoolwork together, right? And it was always, I look back very fondly on those memories, just because I don't know what I'd do without them. Because I remember when I was first coming into CUNY, I was like, oh, I'm just going to go to class, do my homework, and then leave. But as I made friends in classes, I quickly was like told about, hey, you should go to this club, you should do this, you should do that. And by that point, I was like, you know what, I want to help out as much as I can for a community that gave me so much. And I don't know what to do. So now I'm sitting here 3 years later. I was thinking to myself, damn, I'm probably not going to get a degree. Maybe I'll just get a job with like a high school GED or something. And now I'm kind of just, I have the degree at least, right? So time was not wasted. So all that to say, just CUNY's done. Like, CUNY does so much, even if it's like the littlest things, right? I remember when we were given, like, when I first got into the position of president for my club, they told us, like, hey, you got like a little bit of money to spend and whatever. And doing all sorts of weird little jobs for people. I would help out the janitors at my college, right? I would help out just sort of other clubs as student life. I would help out the board games club at my college. I would help out the Stonewall Club, right? And doing that expanded my knowledge so much, and it was fun all the way. I had no issue. Like, it didn't feel like I was actually working. It felt like I was actually communicating and connecting with people, and I think that connection is just so invaluable, because I now, like, I go to my college and there's so many people that are just like, hey, how are you? How are you doing? And they're always excited to see me, just because, like, we help each other out, and it showcased the importance of community and having that group of people to rely on. Because even at my lowest, I still had people that were willing to help me and carry my part of the load even when I couldn't, and I would carry theirs when they couldn't. And yeah, thank you.
Jeremiah?
Yeah, Tyler Woods, can you record me if you don't mind?
Offer team.
You can tell who the studio audience is.
Horizontal. Thank you.
Professional.
We taught this kid good.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeremiah Nicky. I'm the studio art major graduate at York College and the valedictorian, the class of 2026. I often took part in the student arts gallery exhibitions and art club for every semester I attended my college. My art history professor and my favorite professor, Professor Emily Villabovino, and my academic advisor, Professor Maki Hachikano, both helped me create and sustain my workload inside and outside the classroom. Alongside my close friend on campus, Carlos Serrano, they made the experience a bit more bearable. The Office of Veterans Affairs at York also provided substantial support for military students like me. Sorry, it's a bit much right now. I will admit that because I took my studies so seriously, I did not socialize much. Maybe I could have gotten to know some of my peers better. But if I had lost focus, I probably wouldn't be up here today giving this address. Still, I deeply appreciate the classmates I shared most of the courses with. There was even a time when I thought my 4.0 GPA streak had been broken. I received an A- one in my class, and I nearly lost it. So, after relentlessly contacting the professor, it turned out to be a great miscalculation, thankfully. I think it goes to show the importance of persistence and not just intelligence in terms of what's equally applied to maintain your academic performance as a valedictorian or salutatorian. During every spring and fall semester at York, I took 6 to 7 classes at a time, and during every winter and summer semester, I took 2 to 3 classes at a time. Managing that workload back to back, semester after semester, gave me no long-term breaks whatsoever. So, yeah. Since I joined the military, I was behind my high school peers that graduated college in 2024. So I wanted to make it for lost time, and I completed 4 years of college in just 2.5 years. For my employments, my military job, I work as a data systems administrator for communications in the United States Marine Corps Reserves. And for my civilian job, I work as a freelance artist at the Charles Fusino Studio Arts studio. It's terrible. It's not.
You'll find Marie.
Yeah. I plan to continue my education with a master's degree in graphic design and maybe a doctorate degree in commercial arts. Well, a doctor's a big maybe, but I'll get through it. So congratulations to the graduates of the State University of New York. May you continue creating, learning, building, and becoming. Thank you. I don't know why I was so nervous. I'd be much better at my commencement.
Great.
Thank you. You've gone through military training, but you're nervous here, right?
Yeah, I know. It's different environment.
It's like that sometimes.
Yeah, like I would know. First of all, let me just, Alexander and Jeremiah, thank you for protecting my country and my city. I appreciate it. And being a student at the same time, feel free to contact us, and I'll give you my number if there's anything we can do to be a better Purple Heart campuses. We have several at CUNY. I always like to know how we're serving our student veterans and our student active military. So that's an aside to what we're doing here today. For those of you who weren't valedictorians, one day you may be chair of the Student Life Committee, City University of New York. What are you going to be doing next? Do you know? It's okay if you don't.
Okay, no, I just gave my LSAT exam this Friday, so I'm waiting for the
Luck.
You do have a loss. What do you think you're going to be doing next? You don't have, if you don't have an answer, it's okay.
I'm planning on transferring to John Jay for their cybersecurity program. I'm trying to see if I can. I'll probably try to go for my master's, hopefully, in just like information security. But yeah.
Excellent. And Jeremiah, you told us a little bit about what you're going to be doing in your plans.
graduate.
When is your service up?
December 7th of this year. And my next plan would be a graduate program in graphic design, probably Queen City or Hunter College.
Well, you know, the officer training usually comes with a degree, I'm just saying.
I'm good. I'm already a sergeant, so I'm good.
Oh, you work for a living. I just want to tell you that this is the best committee. We get to see, you know, sometimes there's negative things thrown out about CUNY, and sometimes we deserve them. But what the most positive thing is, you guys, so you were thanking us. Thank you. You know, I hate to break it down to just a customer, but without the students, you know, we literally wouldn't be here. And without you excelling and you're walking commercials for the City University of New York, and I appreciate that. And you're more than that, but you are certainly a testament to this, to the teachers and to the staff and the administrators here, and we appreciate that. And thank you for coming in and telling all of us. Does anyone have any comments or questions or accolades for these amazing human beings?
I'll try to be as fast as possible.
No.
Go notes, and I circled this so I could be more diligent, and I don't get beat up when I walk out of here. Asti? Okay, Asti. Okay. You know, it's so passionate. Congratulations. I love the story about your family and the fact that it's only been 6 years. You did a fantastic job. I'm sure they're so proud of you. And like Michael said, like we thank you for bringing your passion. I love how you said from survival, you know, to having, you know, life begin again, and your definition of rising. It's not just raising yourself up, but raising up others. So thank you for that. Mona, seriously, I love your story. Like, how perfect. Like, we couldn't have timed it that we had with the gaming team, and then here you have a team. And, you know, it's like finding your community. I think it shares what life is going to be. You walk in thinking one thing, and it can be something else. So you walked in saying, like, I'm just going to go in, I'm going to do my homework, keep my head down and go. And here you bumped into this, like, whole other community that opened you up to another world. And I think it's something that I'm sure your grandmother is going to be beyond proud of, what you've been able to do. So I'm excited to see where you go now. Cybersecurity is great direction. You're going to have a job forever. And thank you for, you know, extending yourself and helping others. I think that's something to say, people trusting you and you helping others, like from the janitor's side to who knows how many other people along your way. So thank you for that. Jeremiah, you killed it. Great job. Like, I am so proud of you. If I had just like 10% of that discipline, like no breaks, you finish school in 2.5 years and you're curious about a doctorate, dude, you got it. Okay, like it's if you want it. It's if you want it, because you could take 10% of that energy and like do whatever you want. So it's so exciting to see what you're doing. I have a daughter that's also studying graphic arts, so you know I'm happy to see someone else in that space too. Data systems at the same time. So you have like the creative and the data, like you could do anything. So congratulations, thank you for sharing. I would love to have been a fly in the wall, you having that conversation with your professor of like, what do you mean A-? So congratulations to all three of you, and thank you so much for all the work you've done.
So Mona, you and Alex and Mustafa are going to have a conversation after this meeting breaks up, right? Because we could be a powerhouse in esports, I think. Between
Absolutely.
Vice Chancellor.
I've got a closer.
Go right ahead.
So you heard a multi-dimensional approach from our valedictorians. Most people would think about it as, okay, they've got their heads down, they're doing the books, they're making sure that they're getting the grades. But it's who they are and how they come to us that they make us better. And each of them bring a different thing for us to excel and to be better for the broader student community. So to you, I leave this quote with you. Take pride in how far you've come. Have faith in how far you can go. But don't forget to enjoy the journey.
I also want you to acknowledge the woman who couldn't be with us today, but Trustee Una Clark is the reason Medgar Evers is a college. So without her efforts, it wouldn't grace Brooklyn's skyline with Medgar Evers there. So make sure you say hello to her when you get a chance. Seeing as there's no other items on the agenda, I will move to adjourn with a go next. All right, go next.
Go Knicks.